I'm sorry, guys. But this is just genuinely so frustrating at this point. Okay? Every single time I log on to Twitter or Instagram or wherever and post something anti Caitlyn Jenner for governor, first of all, I get a lot of hate from it from so-called conservatives, quote unquote. But like the actual the IQ of the comments I get on top of that are just it's just like why? Like, is this real? Like, is this genuinely how people are still thinking? Let me just get right into this. Let me just explain what I mean. So every time I post, like a million different valid reasons why we should not, as Republicans or conservatives, be supporting an anti-Trump transgender Kardashian for the governor of California as a Republican. I always get comments like this, okay? And let me read off. I got this one today. I got this comment all the time, but I got this one today just for me, like, oh my gosh. Okay, so this person says, I can't speak for the entirety of the internet, but for me, it's wanting to see the liberal left follow through on what they've been saying. Let's see how many of them are really transphobic, quote unquote, vote against a Republican candidate. Okay. All right, so this literally is like the epitome of the joke I've been making. This person just said it out loud, like not jokingly, which is the rationale behind Caitlyn Jenner for governor is basically, haha, let's elect a transgender to own the libs. Oh my gosh, they are such hypocrites. Haha, they can't call us transphobes now because we are the ones with the transgender candidate. This hurts my brain. Okay, this thinking. Like, do you guys realize how stupid you look at this point? Like behaving like this, thinking like this. Okay, here, let me read a reply to this tweet real quick so I can kind of like just show how stupid this is. Someone replies, "Yep, I've said it will be fun to watch liberal heads explode over this. Haha, what the Republicans run the transgender? Oh my God, liberal heads explode." It's like no. Their heads are not exploding. Like, when are you guys gonna get this? They're not. You guys act like, oh, well, Caitlyn Jenner's the Republican candidate now. Oh, the liberals must be so mad at this. They can't call us transphobic anymore. They're not. Liberal heads are not exploding. Okay. If anything, they're laughing at you. I mean, they're literally laughing at you because of this. Okay. They will still, and this is the thinking that I'm just like, when are you guys gonna freaking realize this? This is so stupid. They're still going to call you transphobic anyway. They're still going to call us transphobic anyway. And I know that because they already have. They're already calling Caitlyn Jenner a transphobe. So what was the point of this? Oh, but they're such hypocrites. With the insane leftist hypocrisy. That is the utter state of the Republican Party and the broader conservative movement. It basically goes like this. Ha. Okay, so here are the steps. Okay, here are the steps to being a conservative, quote unquote, in 2021. Step 1. Try to run a transgender for office as a Republican to own the libs because they can't call us transphobic anymore if we have the transgender candidate. Step 2. Liberals literally don't care, okay, and still call you a transphobe anyway, and don't vote for the transgender candidate for governor. And then guess what? The GOP, the Republican Party, loses that election. Step 3. Conservatives react to them literally losing the election by saying, oh, well, they claim to be pro-trans and want to uplift trans voices, but they didn't elect our candidate? Such insane leftist hypocrisy. Oh my gosh, leftist hypocrisy exposed. Okay. That's a cliff right there. I'm about... When are you okay? Let me just say this right now. Let me just say this right now because clearly a lot of people don't understand this. Yes, they are hypocrites. They don't care. Okay? They don't care about consistency. You can call them hypocrites all day long. It's not going to change who they are. It's not going to change what they're doing. It's not going to change what they think because they don't care about consistency. So they will still call Caitlyn Jenner transphobic and the Republicans transphobic anyway. But we own the libs. They're such You guys look so stupid. Like, I'm sorry for the strong language, but you guys actually look like idiots doing this every single time. It's the same thing over and over again. It's like, well, they're such hypocrites. Oh my gosh, the insane leftist hypocrisy. Well, they didn't vote for Caitlyn Jenner. What the liberal heads. Just stop, okay? Just stop with this. This is actually like just getting ridiculous at this point, okay? And let me go over the other points as to why this simply should not happen. I mean, literally, the main argument I've heard from most Caitlyn Jenner supporters for governor is no other reason other than, well, they call us transphobic, so we should have a transgender to own the libs. They're gonna call you transphobic anyway, Okay, but besides that, okay? Caitlyn Jenner, let me go over this again. I've said this way too many times at this point, but so the number 2 reason I hear for Caitlyn Jenner for governor is, well, anyone is better than Newsom, and it's like, okay. But if you want to get Gavin Newsom out of office, I will go over again that Caitlyn Jenner is actually not even the most electable candidate. Let me remind you. So the recall, there are several Republican candidates running in the recall, okay? Caitlyn Jenner is not the only candidate running for governor. The recall probably won't succeed anyway. So it's really more of a question of this is kind of like a precursor to who's going to be the GOP nominee for governor going into the 2022 midterms. Okay? But we don't have to nominate Caitlyn Jenner in 2022. We don't have to vote for Caitlyn Jenner in the recall. And Caitlyn Jenner is not the most electable person there either, okay? I've gone over this many times, but Caitlyn Jenner is actually going to struggle electorally. Mainly because, number 1, California is like 1/2 Hispanic, okay? A lot of Hispanics in the state. And I hate to break it to you, but a lot of Hispanics are really not down to, most of them are Democrats, obviously, but a lot of them are Democrats because of the economic issues, right? Because the Democrats give them the welfare and all that stuff. A lot of Hispanics are not willing to switch parties to vote for a transgender, okay? Most of them are rather socially traditionalist, socially conservative. And you don't win California without winning a huge share of the Hispanic vote, okay? It just works like that. It's like a half Hispanic state. How exactly is Jenner going to win a state that is half Hispanic? It's not going to happen. Also, Jenner's coalition is going to collapse, number 2, because a lot of core conservatives, like me, like a lot of other people, are not going to be really on board with Jenner either, okay? And, like, obviously, it's such an uphill battle for a Republican to win California anyway. How do you win that state without a huge share of the Hispanics and without the core conservatives? You need all the numbers you can get. That already collapses for Jenner, okay? And the way Jenner could hypothetically make up for it is by winning a bunch of the liberals, obviously. But we really have not seen any indication that Jenner's even capable of doing that, okay? Like I've gone over, the liberals are already calling Jenner transphobic. They're trying to attach her to Trump, blah, 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 blah. So this coalition is not going to work for her. Or for, okay, I'll call her because, we're on YouTube, okay? So we'll respect her pronouns for the sake of big tech. But, so that's number 1. Caitlyn Jenner is not electable. I've gone over many times why Kevin Faulconer is the most electable candidate in the state. Kevin Faulconer is actually running a more moderate campaign than Jenner, okay? Kevin Faulconer is the former mayor of San Diego, and really is actually doing a much better job kind of being like just the kitchen table issues, right? Just kind of like the common sense sort of conservative issues, bipartisan kind of candidate, right? Kevin Faulconer, former mayor of San Diego, by the way, and San Diego's, like I've said many times, is a city in California that's respected for being very clean and orderly, not a lot of homeless, and just a nice place to be, nice place to live, right? As compared to like Los Angeles and San Francisco. So it has a good reputation as a city. And it's not like a middle of nowhere city. It's not like he's the mayor of Bakersfield or Riverside or something, right? San Diego. And by the way, San Diego is also a place that's not like deep Republican. It's like 50-50, swings right, left, depending on the election year. So this is a person that has proved that they can win over a huge share of the liberals and Democrats. This is also a person that comes from a big-name city that a lot of people respect. And this is a person who's running a much more common-sense campaign than Jenner. You actually see Jenner's campaign now. Jenner's actually trying to appeal to a lot of conservatives. Jenner's on Fox News with Sean Hannity. Jenner, and this is actually proof because I saw another reply to my anti-Caitlyn Jenner tweets saying that nothing's really changed except for the rules of engagement now. Obviously, like, Republicans have to start learning to fight fire with fire, aka elect a transgender to own the libs. But check this out. This person says Jenner sounds a lot more MAGA than Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Okay, okay. So first of all, let me make it clear that Caitlyn Jenner is not MAGA. Caitlyn Jenner has been off of the Trump train since 2017. Okay, and was never really super on it to begin with, but has basically disavowed Trump since 2017. On top of that, Jenner spoke at the anti-Trump Women's March just last year, and I know because I was there. I saw Jenner speak. Okay, I was there making my video. You guys might remember that, where I trolled them all, right? And so this is not a person who is like MAGA or like conservative or anything. Okay, Jenner is basically grifting you. Jenner will probably govern as a total liberal, like, you know, and just lower taxes, but basically cave on everything else, right? And so it's not like, you know, a lot of people are falling for Jenner because they see Jenner on like Sean Hannity and stuff and think, wow, amazing, California, wow. No, okay, no. Jenner really cannot be trusted to begin with. But even on top of that, you know, the fact that there is kind of this connotation that Jenner is somehow MAGA. MAGA doesn't work in California. I mean, you guys realize this? I mean, you can't, like, okay, even if Jenner is MAGA, which Jenner's not, but even if Jenner were, you can't run a MAGA message in California and expect to win. And Jenner is actually spending a lot of time appealing to conservatives right now, you can see, than appealing to liberals. And that's not going to work. Jenner's actually not playing to the center right now. Jenner's playing to the right. Now, while that may win Jenner some conservative voters, like I said, Jenner's not going to be able to build that coalition with the middle, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't see the point of this. Why are you guys so obsessed with doing this, okay? And by the way, people think, well, at least it's better than Newsom. You guys need to understand that Caitlyn Jenner's election, if it does happen, I don't think it will, but if it does happen, will not be, independent. It will not stay in California. Jenner will immediately become a face of the National Republican Party. I'm serious. I know this because Jenner has already been on not just Fox News, but on Hannity, okay? If Jenner comes close to getting elected or is even nominated or is elected, Jenner's going to be all over Fox News. Jenner's probably going to be given a primetime speaking slot at the RNC, seeing how this is going, seeing how the Republican establishment response has been to this, okay? So you might just say, well, I know you guys don't even live in California. I don't see why you care so much, but you're like, oh, better than Newsom. Okay, but, you know, do you want Caitlyn Jenner to become a face of the National Republican Party? Because that's genuinely where we're headed, okay? And you can see it happening already. And I can tell you right now, that is not going to end well, okay? You can kiss all your national gains with Hispanics goodbye. You can expect a very large boycott from a lot of Christians, a lot of social conservatives, a lot of core conservatives. And that's worth it? Losing national elections is worth it because we own the libs in California. Haha, they're the real transphobes. The utter state of BoomerCon Inc., okay, the utter state of, like, the conservative establishment orthodox thinking, it genuinely, like, I cannot process it. It is so stupid. It's so utterly stupid. You guys are suggesting we try to elect someone who's not even the most electable candidate in California. So pure pragmatism goes out of the picture, you know. And by the way, even if Caitlyn Jenner were the governor, you know, let's compare Kevin Faulconer, the person I want, versus Caitlyn Jenner. Jenner has no political experience, which, you know, is obviously not automatically disqualifying. But Jenner clearly, you see her on Hannity, doesn't know anything, right? Doesn't talk about anything about policy or whatever. Jenner will be far less pragmatic, by the way, even if elected. So less electable and less pragmatic than someone like Kevin Faulconer, because Jenner's not going to really have a clue what Jenner's doing once governor. So honestly, what is the point of this? Less electable, less pragmatic, and a net negative for the conservative movement, for the National Republican Party, etc., etc. But at least Democrats are the real transphobes, right? I'm sorry. I know this was all over the place. I know this whole video was like, but I just had to get this out. I'm like honestly just like frustrated. I'm honestly just pissed at this point. So that's about it, guys. Hope you having a good Saturday other than this. Okay. By the way, thank you to everyone who watched the anti-woke dissertation. I'm glad you appreciated it. Clearly this fight is not over, okay? Clearly I have to keep drilling it home with these people until they get it, okay? But please, don't support Caitlyn for governor. Support Kevin Faulconer if you want to actually get Newsom out of office. You want to actually find a realistic candidate that can be pragmatic and electable and all that stuff. And please stop thinking that Jenner is MAGA somehow because you saw one mediocre interview on Sean Hannity that you kind of liked, okay? Just stop. Just stop. With that being said, guys, I'll see you guys later. Alpha moves only, and peace.